Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 177 of the KISS Army Nation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Pasquale Barry.
And I am Claudio Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone. Born in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, our guest tonight is an ultra KISS fan with some stories that are worth to be known and shared with the KISS Army. I was fortunate enough to have the chance to share with Kevin one of Bruce Kulick's shows in the last KISS Cruise, and since then, a friendship was born. And he is also a big supporter and fan of the KISS Army Nation podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Kevin O'Donnell. Nice to see you, Kev.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Pasquale. Thank you, Claudio. Very happy to be here.
Welcome to the show. Such a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Anytime I get a chance to talk about KISS,
And
I'm all in.
after all these years, I found out what actually happened because Claudio and I went to the cruise together, and I went to the Bruce Kulick show, and there was no Claudio to be seen anywhere, and here he was on the side next to Bruce, making a new friend. Now I know.
There you go. That's the KISS Cruise, man.
That's it, man. That's
Exactly.
it.
And unsurprisingly, I was by myself too. I'm like, okay, I got to do my own thing. I got to make sure I get in the right spot. And so I was all by myself, and Claudio was there, and we had a blast.
Oh,
It was fantastic, man. Great memories.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start talking about
Sure.
some of those memories, and I want to start with your fandom because there's something interesting about how you got into KISS. So there's some kind of link between Michael Jackson and KISS. What's that about?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a link. So if I go back and I think about, when did I first get into KISS? Like, where did this fascination come from? And, I got to go way back and start with what are some facts. So the first fact I know is that I went to the Asylum tour in Toronto in April 8th of 86. So at that time, I'm 11 and a half years old, and I'm in grade 6. If I go back to Michael Jackson, my first concert ever was in October 6th of 1984. So only a year and a half gap from seeing Michael Jackson and being kind of a Michael Jackson fan to now I'm at the Asylum tour, and I'm not just like a passive fan. By the time this Asylum tour rolled around, I am a hardcore fan, and I'm only 11 and a half years old. Like, you have no idea how deep I was into this band at 11 and a half years old. So in that small span, I'm trying to see what happened. Like, how did I get, so deep into this band in such a short period of time, coming from, like a pop KISS Michael Jackson fan and going to a Michael Jackson concert. And in a short time later, like, this band was my whole life. I liken it to that Christmas of 1984. So I was just 10 years old, and it was, to this day, still the best Christmas I've ever had. I received a record player. So my first record player from my bedroom. And I got 2 records. I got Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry, 33.
Mm-hmm.
And I got Heaven's on Fire, 45. That's all I had. So imagine being in my room. Those were the only two records I had. So I played them back and forth. And so I'm trying to think, okay, so what happened? And what I recall is being in a friend's apartment not long after that, likely talking about my Christmas gifts and mentioning the fact that I got this Heaven's on Fire 45, and I really like this band KISS. They're always on Much Music in Canada. The video is playing all the time. And he said, I think my mom has a KISS record. Hold on a second. So he goes over into the living room. He comes back, and sure enough, his mom had KISS self-titled. And I've never seen the album. I didn't really know much about the makeup phase of KISS at this stage. I'm still kind of into what I'm seeing on the rotation in Much Music, right? And they weren't playing a lot of makeup KISS music at that time. So they said, hey, his mom said, and my buddy said, just take the album, go have it. We don't need it, right? We're not listening to it. So that night I go back to my room. Obviously, I'm excited to listen to this new album, right? Like most KISS fans, I was absolutely blown away. Like, I mean, blown away. Like, you look at that first side of that KISS self-titled albums, they're still staples today. Like, I think 70% of those songs were on the final tour, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I kind of link my when did I become a huge fan is really in a short period of time. I got fascinated with that album, and from that point on, it's like, okay, how do I get my hands on more KISS music? And around that time, I don't know if you guys remember the Columbia Music House promotions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where probably put most families into the bad credit. So I'm begging my mom and convinced her, like, hey, we got to sign up for this Columbia House. And at this time now, it had already moved into tapes. So it wasn't albums, it was tapes. So, I went through the catalog and I think you can get 11 for a penny was the
Yeah.
deal. And then if you paid, I think it was $2 or $3 extra, you can get an extra two. So I went all in. I'm like, okay, I want 13 tapes. So I went through the catalog and I literally just checked off every
Everything.
single Kiss. Like, I don't know if was able to get 13 out of there, but I'm sure I got at least 8 or 9 out of that. And I spent the next 6 months just nonstop. I couldn't, like, every tape I put on, I'm like, wow, the next one, wow, the next one, wow. Like, for me, it wasn't like, oh, this one's a little poppier, or this one's a little, like, I liked everything, like
Everything.
everything, every song. And from that point on, like, I literally couldn't get my hands on enough Kiss, whether it be in a magazine or anything I could read. Like, I think you talked about, some of your other podcasts, like, we've lost a little bit of the fascination with everything being at our fingertips,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like online. Well, back then, if you'd walk by a store and you see something on the cover, well, I gotta have it. Or, I'd spend times at the head shop. Like, we had a local head shop in my city. It was called 3Ts, and I was literally a fixture at this place. Again, I'm only like 11 years old, but I would ride my bike
We're
there.
already big time.
Yeah, like on a Saturday morning, I would literally ride my bike there. I would stay at this head shop from like 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. just hanging out with the guys. I just wanted to be around all of the, the posters, all the new stuff coming in, and yeah, I just got, everything I can get my hands on from that point
I
on.
love it. I love it.
That's what I was doing.
So when you were discovering Kiss, did you see them on television, or did you say Kiss Meets the Phantom, things like that? Maybe that came across the television.
Not at that time. No, at that time, no. At that time, I really think it was the Heavens on Fire and the Animalized, and maybe even some of the Lick It Up stuff that might have been on rotation. And so at that phase, it was, my school and they were getting into the kind of the metal phase, right? So the Motley Crues, Judas Priest, and stuff like that, right? So we were all kind of in that hair metal phase. So I'd be just glued to the Much Music, watching the Power Hour, all that kind of music, and whenever a Kiss song would come on, I clearly gravitate to it. And by that point, I've got all the tapes, right? So I'm like listening to the music on my Walkman to and from school, and
the Walkman. That's
yeah, and I'm getting the posters, and so it's kind of funny because you think I guess a kind of a younger fan, right? Like by 1985, or 84, I'm only 10 years old, 11 years old when I started getting pretty hardcore, but my walls, looked like I was in 1977. Like, I had all the posters all over my wall. Like, I wish I had all that stuff still today, or photos of those old rooms. But yeah, I was all in, man.
Beautiful. Hey, Kev, and if we continue to explore, those first big years and how they define this kind of obsession that you ended up having for the band, I guess we all agree that sometimes we get into music or we get into a band for the social aspect also, just to hook up with friends, just to get to know people. In your case, did you have the chance to share your passion with your friends? Was Kiss a trendy band during those years?
No, and that's what also made it interesting is this wasn't something that was going around the school, and I was or I was getting it from an older brother. It was just me. Like, I don't know why I gravitated to this band. I maybe it's like a lot of people, the mystique, the superhero nature, the makeup. I really don't know, but at the end of the day, the music got me. Like, a lot of people talk about the gimmicks and stuff like that. Like, the music is what got the hook in me. But then you start kind of, the mystery about these guys, the makeup about these guys, the different eras. That's the other thing I love about the band, right? Is like, they go from different eras in such a short period of time, right? Like, you look at it like the 7-year span, and it's like, okay, in 7 years, how many different eras can you count? Right, where either the music is a bit different, the look is a bit different, the style is a bit different. Sure. Like, it was just I couldn't get enough. It's just so amazing. So no, it was all me, which kind of leads me even kind of, if we start talking about the KISS Cruise, is like, I went by myself. It's like, I don't I don't have a whole crew of KISS fans that are with me, right? Like, if I go to a concert, I'm the first one. My sister had to take me to that one, right? I'm like, I don't have anybody to go with me, and I think my second one, I begged a best friend to go with me, but he knew none of the music. But yeah, it's just kind of how it's been. It's been my thing. Just
so that year and a half when you're discovering KISS, man, those were turbulent years.
Oh my God!
You went from pop Michael Jackson
Yeah.
to discovering KISS and makeup. And then you mentioned your first show was Animalize?
No, Asylum.
Asylum, sorry.
Yeah.
So the non-makeup show. So you
Yeah.
went from Michael Jackson, discovering KISS and makeup, non-makeup KISS.
Yeah.
So how was that? Discovering KISS with makeup, but then seeing them for the first time without makeup. Was it
Oh,
exciting? Was it a
oh
letdown
my
for
God.
you?
So I'll never forget that day as long as I live. So a couple funny things about about my my first concert. Like I'm dressed like I'm a rock star. I'm trying to be some kind of a 11-year-old rock star. I've got studded armbands up both arms. I've got a studded dog collar. I'm not kidding, a studded dog collar. I've got a studded belt with a big KISS belt buckle. It was the one of the Heavens on Fire era photos.
Okay.
When they're no makeup, I had that belt buckle, and I'm walking in this thing like I'm a rock star, and I'm like 4 feet tall.
I love it.
But that day, I'll never forget the day because we were going straight from school because we didn't have a car, so we had to take this bus thing. It was a whole operation to get downtown from where I live, but whatever. I get to school and I'm so jacked. Like, I know I'm going to see KISS tonight. Like, I can't even believe it, right? Like, I am such a hardcore fan. And so much, my head was pounding. I had the biggest headache.
Ooh.
I had to go to the nurse's room for half the day.
Ooh.
I literally was lying in the nurse's office half the day of the KISS concert because I just was so jacked. I was so excited that I just couldn't get my head to stop pounding. All the way, I'm in the bus. I'm there with my sister. We're in the lineup. We're at our seats. I'm taking it all in. My head is still literally pounding. I can't believe how much my head's pounding. I'm not kidding you. The lights went down. It all went away.
Really? Wow.
Just like that. And they're playing, like, I didn't know what to expect, right? Like, they're playing the old KISS songs, right? Like, I don't know what I'm getting into here, right? Like, I've never been to a KISS concert. I only have this Michael Jackson experience from when I was really young. And here they are playing, all the makeup songs, and then sneaking in some of the non-makeup songs. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Oh, it was one of the best days of my life.
Nice. So since then, how many concerts have you seen?
I don't know. I've lost count, but I've essentially very fortunate being in Toronto, right? That's one great thing. So being in Toronto, they're not skipping tours, right? So once I started seeing Asylum, I never missed a tour, right? So I would have seen Asylum, Crazy Nights, Hot in the Shade twice. There's a bit of a story to that. Revenge. The only thing that I'm disappointed in still to this day, one regret, is I missed the convention tours.
Okay.
At the time, it was kind of expensive, and I didn't have a lot of money, and I wish I would have, found a way, but I didn't get to the convention tours. That was one of my big regrets. But then all of the reunion tours, the Psycho Circus, you name it. So every time they've come to Toronto, essentially, I'm not missing. And by this point, they've come so many times, I've lost count.
So from all those shows you've seen, what would you say was your favorite? Besides the first, obviously.
Yes, yeah. So I'd say it's probably a competition of three, and I will pick one. The competition is probably Oshawa. They played in my hometown, which I still to this day can't believe, and there's a story to that.
Yeah.
They played Revenge, and I saw them front row center.
Ooh,
Front row. No, sorry, not center. Front row, just off to the side.
that's a killer.
Yeah, and probably the first KISS cruise in the small little theater on the cruise. I think those are probably my three major shows, but I'll probably pick Revenge.
Okay.
Front row center. There's a little bit of a story there. You want to hear it?
Of course.
So again, I don't have a lot of friends that are into KISS, but I convinced my best friend at the time, like, please come with me. And we had a job at McDonald's, so we had a little bit of money, like kind of pocket money. So I convinced him to get scalpers. Like, I wanted to get the best seats we possibly could, right? So by this point, I'd just been seeing them in kind of the bleachers and things like that nature, right?
Where were they playing?
They were at the Maple Leaf Gardens.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto.
Okay.
And so we were able to get scalper tickets. I think we had 10th row. So 10th row, like, wow, that's great, right? I can't believe I'm in 10th row. I'm loving this, right? Like, we get there and we're all jacked, and I think it was Slaughter. I got to go back and look. I'd have to go back and do my research. I didn't prepare enough, but I think it might have been Slaughter. That was the opening band. So we're at our seats, and the opening band hasn't even started yet. And my buddy recognizes somebody in the front row. So, because the concert hadn't started yet, everyone's still, able to move around and kind of loosen things of that nature. So we go up and we're talking with him, right? Even to the point where we're over the fence. So the front row had a fence. So you had the front row, and then you had a fence, and then you had all the seats behind it. So he knew this a couple people that were up there. So we're up there chatting, and the whole time I'm not even thinking of what they're talking. I can't even focus on what they're thinking. I'm just imagining, holy shit, imagine if I was standing here for the concert, right? Like there's no way, right? So sure enough, the lights go down, and we watch the opening band from the front row. Me and him with his two friends. I can't believe it. I'm like, this is great. We're front row here. But the whole time, all I care about is, oh my God, what if I'm able to stay here for KISS?
Right.
What if this? How am I going to be able to stay here? Like, I got to somehow stay here, right? So, opening band finishes, lights come on. What happens? Security starts firing
Of course,
around.
Yeah.
So now they
show me your
didn't
tickets
care.
and that.
Yeah, they didn't care about the opening band and who's up there, but they cared about who's coming for KISS, right?
Right.
So sure enough, they kick us out. I'm back in my seat, and now I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how close I was to getting up there, right? Like my mind is like literally racing. I'm like, I got to figure out a way to get back up
to
there.
go back.
Yeah, like how can I get back up there? I literally just saw the opening band there. Why am I now back at this? I know 10th row is still a great spot, but front row, literally at holding on. And this is the older days too. Like it's not like there's a barrier like there is these days, right?
Yeah.
You're literally can touch
really
the stage.
Close.
You can touch the stage, right? So what did I do? And I feel a bit bad for my friend to this day, but again, my fandom took over. The lights went dark. Before they could come back up, I darted up, hopped over the fence, and got right back where I was.
Nice.
Lights back on, boom, and I watched the entire Revenge show.
Nice.
Paul Stanley handed me a pick. Didn't throw me a pick. Handed me a pick.
God.
So just imagine.
What a story, man! I love it.
Yeah, so that's probably got to take the cake.
And I guess we oftentimes we discuss in discussion panels and with Pask and our friends how great that Revenge tour was, and that lineup, the sound so tight, with Eric Singer, with Bruce Kulick, man. It was so amazing, man, so amazing. I no wonder why you picked it as one of your favorites or your favorite show.
And even Paul used to say in many circles that was the band had never was better.
Yeah.
He thought the band was never better. Yeah. That's why they made KISS Alive 3, right? Yeah. He thought the band was never tighter. They were never better. I don't know if I agree with that, but yeah, they were really great at that time.
Oh yeah. So and speaking of stories, so it's all about stories today, and we always build up great memories when we go to shows. So you said you had a great story from the show during the Hot in the Shade tour.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, that's another Toronto story. So I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but KISS was touring with Whitesnake. They had a double bill. They were supposed to be co-headlining.
Yeah.
Right. So of course they're coming. I got to go see them. I got my tickets. This is at the Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, which was also, it wasn't the full stadium. It was like kind of a half stadium, which was pretty intimate as well, which was very cool. So Paul Stanley gets on the stage, right? There's no Sphinx. There's no stage show. There's nothing. If I recall, I think it was still a little light out even at the time when they came on. I don't even think it hadn't got fully dark yet. So Paul Stanley comes on the stage and he says, like, even with some swear words, he's like, Whitesnake just told us we're not allowed to put our stage show on. They're afraid that we're going to upstage them and we're not allowed to put on our stage. He says, we got all the gear here. We got everything here. It's all here. We have it all for you. We had an amazing show that we were going to put on for you. Whitesnake, these la 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 la, like, swearing at them. They won't let us put on the show. So what does he say? He says, you know what? We're going to put on the best, goddamn rock show you've ever seen in your life. And they played extra time. They played, I think, a 2.5-hour show. Really? But they promised, we're coming back. They said, we are coming back. Don't you worry, Toronto. We're coming back. And sure enough, I don't know how many months later, they came back to Hamilton, which isn't exactly, it's not downtown proper, but it's, about 30 minutes outside of Toronto.
Close
They came
by.
back and they did the full show with the Sphinx, with everything, for the Toronto crowd. So I was fortunate to go back and see that tour twice.
I remember
Have you ever heard
reading.
that? Have you ever heard that story?
Yeah, I remember reading that story, with the clash with David Coverdale and all that stuff. So I can't believe it that you were there, man, in that show.
Man.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, and what a show they put on. Like, they're like, we're just gonna play extra time. We don't care how long we play. And they did a kick-ass show, but they just, unfortunately, they couldn't get the stage going. But you know what?
Wow.
Perfect, man. I got to see them twice, man. That's like,
There you go.
it was a win-win, man. Yeah.
You mentioned Oshawa before.
Yeah,
I remember this story. That was during one of their tours where they were. It was basically a contest asking people to tell them where they want KISS to play, and this little town of Oshawa won, right? But apparently they didn't go to Oshawa. But at first they didn't go to Oshawa. They said you guys won the contest. They didn't go, and you guys protested, and then they ended up going, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So they announced I think it was KISS 35, I think. And they announced the tour list, and Oshawa wasn't on there. And everyone's like, what, WTF, man? Like, we won the contest.
Exactly.
Like, of all the cities in North America, they said, we'll play you want us to play, we'll come play for you. And they tried putting some kind of a story that, it's too small of a place. We can't fit our gear in and whatever. And the guy that ran the campaign, I know him. He's another hardcore KISS fan. His name is Sean Shane. He's like, if I'm a hardcore fan, this guy's at a whole other level. He ran the entire campaign to actually get them to Oshawa. He had a van that was driving around the city, a KISS van that was driving around the city. He had politicians he was working with, trying to drum up interest. So he was all in to get these guys there. And then when they announced they weren't coming, again, he raised a big stink. He got the politicians involved, made enough noise that eventually they put us on the bill.
That's incredible. And so tell us about the show. You were there. Tell us about it.
I was there. So I went by myself. Like I said, I don't have a whole crew.
I'm seeing a theme here.
I know, man. I'm not kidding. I need to go to Montreal with you guys.
Absolutely.
I think for the first time, I had my wife put KISS makeup on me before the show. So I literally, I remember I was sitting actually right here where I'm sitting right now, and my wife was beside me, and she's doing, I did the Ace Frehley makeup. So she's got me all in the makeup, and I still remember, I'm driving down to the show, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm going to have a drink, before the show. So I stopped in at a bar right by the place. I'm full-fledged KISS makeup. So obviously that I'm gravitating to so many people. Everyone come like, hey, what the hell's going on? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? So I went all out for that KISS show, and it's still a dream come true. Like, what are the odds of being an Oshawa KISS fan? And in I think there's 5,000 seats, and it's like a junior hockey stadium, right?
Okay.
And they played that show, like it was 70,000, right?
Yeah. Oh,
it was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess there's nothing like when your favorite band, plays your hometown, and under the circumstances that you explained, with the contest and all of that, it must have been so special. Special.
Like what are the odds of that town?
Yeah,
winning a North American contest, like a North American contest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears a little bit, Kev, and talk about collections. Okay, so do you consider yourself a KISS collector? And if so, do you own any KISS pieces that have special meaning to you?
So I'm not I guess I'm not a KISS collector like kind of you. Like, I mean, you have all the stuff behind you and all the, the toys and the things of that nature. Like, my collections have always been around the music or the concerts, right? For the most part. But I do have one piece that I wanted to show today. So when I was back in grade 8, again, back when I was in the height of my kind of young days and couldn't get enough of KISS, one of my best friends, I was with him at a sleepover one weekend, and I'm constantly talking about KISS, trying to convert them, trying to get somebody on my side, and his older brother heard me talking about KISS, right? And at the time, he used to make these mirrors, painted mirrors.
Okay.
Do you remember like the when you used to go to the fair? And you remember those mirror, like rock mirrors you used to be able to win?
Yeah.
Those were a thing for a while. I remember rock mirrors. right? You know what I mean? Like the square
Yeah,
12 by 12 mirrors. Do you know what I'm talking
Mhm.
about? So he used to make these paintings. Like he had a bunch of them in his room, and I said to him one day, I'm like, "Oh my God, you do such great work on these mirrors. I would absolutely love it if you could do something for me, like a KISS mirror, right?" And he's like, "Well, do you have any ideas on what we would do for you, right?" And I said, I've got the perfect thing that you could do for me." And you'll recognize it right away when I show it to you. And it's amazing because it's been on almost 50 years, and I still have it. It's normally downstairs on my shelf. I don't know if you can see that
Put it
Put
higher.
it up.
pretty well. Can you see that?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Gene.
So this is the solo
Oh,
album.
wow.
Yeah. So it's obviously it's been through some years,
Look at that.
but it's super special. This was handmade for me back when I was in grade 8, and I treasure it, and it's always downstairs. It's one of a kind, obviously, right? So because
Of
it
course.
was made especially for me. So that's one of the things that I treasure most
A
from
special
my
meaning to
collection.
you, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, a special meaning.
The other things I have is there was a time probably around, I guess, just after the internet kind of was booming. And now we have access to information right on the internet. So I'm doing searching, always looking for KISS things or whatever, right? And I got wind of this network of professionally shot concerts.
Mhm.
I didn't know they existed, right? Like the things that you'd see on KISS Exposed.
Mhm.
Like KISS Exposed would be your only exposure to kind of the makeup concerts and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm finding out that there's this entire network of bootleg video concerts that exist and pro shot, right? Like, KISS had been making these, recording these shows, and they made it through somehow through, into the bootleg circuit. People got their hands on them, right? So once I've got wind of that, again, I had to have my hands on these things, right? So I've did all kinds of research. I connected with all kinds of different people, and I eventually I found somebody in Texas, and this is on VHS at the time,
Mhm.
and I had them make me I wanted one concert from every tour, right? So I wanted to make sure I can get every concert back to the black
On
and white
VHS. On
on
VHS.
VHS. Yeah, that was
Okay.
on VHS. And then years later, VHS is starting to go out of style, and I'm worried, about the longevity of my videos. Like at that time, history didn't exist,
Mhm.
YouTube didn't exist. Like the only way to watch these shows were on these videos, right?
On tapes. Yeah.
On the tape. So I'm like, how do I preserve these? So again, I start doing all my research, and I found somebody that could convert them to DVDs.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I've got a collection. I've got a couple here just to show you. I got a collection. And the other thing was very cool is, if you did your research, there was actually like DVD covers. Like people had made covers
Yeah.
from these shows, right?
Mhm.
So, just an example, I've got, here's, my Unmasked in Australia.
Higher.
higher?
Just
Higher.
put it-
Okay.
There
Higher.
you go.
Yeah.
There you
There
go.
you
So
go.
I got my KISS mask in Australia,
Mhm.
and what they did is they made these nice. The guy did an amazing job.
Right,
Put
right.
these nice labels on them for me.
Mhm.
So I've got a tour. I got every one of the tours
Mhm.
on these videos. So obviously, now that we got them, a lot of them are on YouTube, and a
Yeah.
lot of them we've seen through KISStory. But prior to that point, that was a huge treasure for me, is having having
course.
these concert videos.
Of
Nice.
course.
Yeah.
The beauty of again, as we always discuss with Pascal and the guests and our friends, there's no such a thing as a big collector, kind of a small collect. So whatever
Yeah.
you collect, it has a special meaning to you. Some people are into vinyl, some people are
Yeah.
into posters, action figures, tour books, anything. But there is always a time when we go the extra mile. So have you done something crazy? Have you gone beyond the Call of Duty to acquire a very particular item, whether if it's a video, DVD, vinyl, whatever?
Probably the videos was probably my biggest task. Right? Yeah, I did a lot of research to get those videos. I remember going back and forth with this guy from Texas and going in blind and sending this guy a check. I don't know if this guy's going to send me anything, if I'm going to get something in the mail. I was pretty young and I'm going out on a limb, right? Just kind of meeting some stranger on the internet and sending him some cash. I think that's probably the craziest. Or the farthest I've gone for something, I think.
Are you still buying things? So what do you think? We recently we were chatting we had a Let Me Know, a short talk talking about KISS Online and buying stuff, through the official site. Are you into buying whatever it's been released, for anniversaries, of the albums or anything? Are you into that or?
Not really, because I already have those albums. But lately, I think over the last 2 years, I've gotten into the bootleg vinyls.
Okay.
So there's a specific site, a Facebook site, where there's one guy who essentially he's got everything and he gets all the new stuff. So very similar to what I wanted to do with the videos is I want to have a live record
vinyls,
from every tour. Right. So if you think of KISS Alive, right, that's only the first couple of albums, and then you got KISS Alive 2. But I wanted to have one from all the tours. So I've pretty much I've got about 40 albums right now, and I've got every tour.
Oh, nice.
I think I've got every tour on vinyl through the bootleg circuit, and they're great because they come so beautifully packaged, and a lot of times they've got posters inside or photo books inside. The one thing I find a bit disappointing is KISS are releasing these soundboard recordings.
Yeah.
And they're marketing them in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
Like I personally refuse to buy, one of these soundboard recordings when it literally every single album looks the exact same. It's literally a brown cardboard box. Like they're not putting in the effort. I'm sure it's a licensing thing, or they don't want to pay, Ace or Peter, or I don't know the background, but I don't think they're putting in the effort. But the bootleg circuit is like they're building some beautiful albums, colored vinyl, photo books, posters, gatefolds. They're amazing. They're unbelievable. So I think like most recently, that's kind of where I've been spending my KISS money.
Okay.
So Kevin, listening to you talk about collecting, it's interesting because it brings back a lot of memories. You were talking about those videos. I think that was KISS Vision. I was collecting those as well at the time.
I think that's exactly where it was. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And I find that today it's so easy to get KISS stuff. You can get it anywhere. If you have the money, no problem. It's easy. But back then, we were like scavengers looking for that KISS item. But then when we got our hands on it, man, it was like something special.
Yeah.
Like everything we got our hands
videos,
on.
Those videos. Oh my God, I watched them front and back. Like I watched them so many times, and then that's why I wanted to get them onto DVD. It's almost a little disappointing to see how easy you can get them on YouTube now. It's like, I can just watch the show.
Right, exactly.
I just click a button and watch the whole show. I'm like, oh my God, you have no idea how the length I had to go to get these in my possession. And KISS Kruise is also amazing too, right? You start seeing them in much better quality. Like the quality on VHS is still not what you're going to get off of KISS Street, right? So when that collection came out, that was amazing.
Yeah, but that's what makes collecting back then so special, and to this day, you still consider it, one of your most important pieces.
Absolutely,
because of what you went through to get it. Now, speaking of special, we have to talk about the KISS Cruise.
Absolutely.
So how many have you attended?
I've been on 3 KISS Cruises. I think 1, 6, and 12. And still to this day, they're some of the best experiences I've ever had. Like when I meet with a KISS fan, like a big time KISS fan, and they haven't been on a KISS Cruise, I question like, how have you not made that a priority in your life if you're not such a big KISS fan, right? I mean, it's not that expensive in terms of a context of the fact you're getting to see them on the show in concert twice, right? So let's call that a couple $100 per ticket, right? If you were to see them live, and then the whole experience, not to mention there's the other bands on the cruise nonstop, right, for 5 days. but my KISS Cruise experience was a bit interesting. If you want to hear the story.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah,
So KISS Cruise 1 kind of came around, and I didn't hear about it. I didn't know. I guess I wasn't kind of connected enough. I didn't hear anything about it, but I got wind of it after the fact, right? Like either I don't know if it was on YouTube or seeing videos of this show, and I'm like, WTF, like what? The Kiss is on a boat and you get to go meet them and you get a photo with them and they're doing shows on the boat. I'm like, that's it. I made it my mission. Like I am getting on that boat. Like there was like non-negotiable that I was going to get on that next Kiss cruise. So, I talked to my wife about it.
That was, sorry, Kev, that was
Yeah.
when they were promoting the first one?
So I missed the first one.
You missed the
Yeah,
first
so
one.
that's what I'm saying. I didn't know about the first one. It happened, and then I got wind of it. I'm like, well, I'm not missing number two. Like there was nothing keeping me off that boat. So I tell my wife about it. We can go and meet the band and stay with them for a week. And she's like, yeah, not a chance.
You go.
You go. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, it's not that it's relatively inexpensive, but not going by yourself. Like there's no way you're gonna be able to afford a cabin all by yourself. So I went on Facebook. I started looking at the different groups, and I'm just like looking for a cabin mate. I'm like, anybody interested? And I'm like, hey, I'm telling my story. Here's me. I'm looking for somebody to come on this cruise with me. And I had a bunch of tire kickers for a while. I had one guy from Australia that we ended up kicking him out. Like he turned out to be a bit of a troublemaker. But I eventually got two bites. I got a guy from Germany who was 10 years younger than me. And we found a guy from Mississippi who was 10 years older than me. And I thought that was interesting because we got kind of 30 years of history and each coming at it with, with different experiences. And I never met them before, only know them from, from their pictures on Facebook. I had one phone call with the guy from Mississippi, which is interesting. His name was Bubba. So before, I make the commitment to buy this room, I'm like, okay, I got at least to speak to somebody. So
The minimum.
I called this guy and, he's got this, this thick accent. His name was Earl on Facebook. So I call him up and I said, hey, Earl, this is Kevin. We've been talking on Facebook. And he's like, in a very thick accent, he's like, my name is Bubba. You can call me Bubba. My friends call me Bubba. That is a good Southern name. So I'm like, uh-oh, what am I getting into? What am I getting into here with this guy? But he turned out to be, a fun guy and obviously a huge KISS fan. And then I met this guy from Germany online as well on Facebook. And if I look at his profile, he kind of looked like this big hardcore rocker, big long hair, obviously 10 years younger than me, looked like this big partier. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if this is going to work out either because I want to have a good time, but I don't want to get too crazy on this boat, right? But we took a flyer. We met up in Miami for the first time, the night before, and we had a blast, man. We hit it off right away, and it was at Halloween. If you remember all those cruises, those early cruises, they were all Halloween cruises.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which wasn't so great because I had young kids. Right. So the first year, nothing was going to keep me away. Obviously, if I miss one Halloween, I miss one Halloween. But as it went on, I was like, well, if they ever jump off of Halloween, I'm coming back. I'm going back.
Right.
Right. And fortunately, in KISS Cruise 6, that's the next cruise that they didn't do Halloween. So that's what brought me back for KISS Cruise 6. So same thing. I'm like knocking on doors. Who wants to go with me? Fortunately, the guy from Germany signed back up. So he's like, yeah, I'll come back again with you. The gentleman from I think it was Mississippi, he passed. So we're looking to still find seats in the room. Found a guy, Joachim from Sweden, who signed on, and a gentleman from Nova Scotia. So we got another Canadian with me, a guy from Sweden and a guy from Germany. Again, we had a blast. And then, waited my time to come back again, and eventually, was able to sell my wife on KISS Cruise 12. And that's when I met you. And that time Germany came back. So this guy's been great. He's come all 3 cruises with me. He's become kind of a lifelong friend. The gentleman from Sweden came back again, and he brought his best friend. So we had the two guys from Sweden, and the guy from Germany came back with me. So now we've got a Facebook chat that we got going on for the last 10 years plus. We're always keeping in touch, sharing stories.
This is great, man. This is great.
Yeah, nice. I love it.
I was lucky enough to be on KISS Cruise 1. And
Oh man, I
that
love
was an
that.
incredible experience because nobody knew what to expect when we are coming on the ship, including the band, you know? So in a sense, we were like pioneers. It was, if everything was the first time, it was amazing. So I got to say that was my favorite. But I can only imagine if I didn't go on that one, what can I say would be my favorite? I went to 1, 4, 5, and 12.
Wow, nice.
So what would you say was your favorite cruise?
Oh, yeah, it has to be number one, obviously, for the first time. What I loved is not just the cruise, but the whole lead up, the pre-party. Like I think it
Yeah.
was Mr. Speed played at the Hard Rock Cafe in
Mm,
downtown Miami, and just kind of walking around the city and hearing Kiss music at different bars. It's like, wow, this is unbelievable, right? You just got that. It was Kiss everywhere.
Yeah.
The first one is definitely my favorite. Actually, funny story. So you mentioned that no one knew what to expect after Kiss Cruise 1, right? Or for Kiss Cruise 1.
Yeah.
But by Kiss Cruise 2, people did know what to expect,
right.
specifically around the sail away show. So people knew that, hey, once this ship starts moving, there's going to be a sail away show, right? People want to get their spot for on the deck to watch the sail away show, right? So I knew there was a sail away show. I knew everything is going to happen the second the ship gets moving. So what happens is we've got a great spot. I'm like right by the stage, right? Ready for, I'm planted. I'm like, we're not moving. Let's get the show going. So then what do? I don't know if you remember. They call everybody to go do the safety tour.
Oh,
Oh
yes. I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're
Right,
standing
right
there,
before.
you're all jacked, you're thinking you got a great spot, and they literally clear the deck
All
like
right.
an hour before the show is going to start. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So what do you think is going to happen? Is I knew that people, the second that safety, all the safety routines are done,
It's done.
it's going to be a blitz, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be running. So what I did is I went in quickly. I kind of did my scan in or whatever you have to do to make sure that you're showed that you did the safety. And I did a quick sneak out. I did a sneak out and I hung out at the arcade that
Mm-hmm.
was right beside right beside the entrance to the deck. So, because I knew once that thing goes, everybody's going to be making a mad rush for the stage. So I'm hiding in by the video games. Like I'm literally hiding behind the video games in case somebody comes in.
Like a kid, man.
Yeah, like
Come
a
on.
kid. Right? I'm not kidding. But sure enough, what would happen? About 4 or 5 other people, exact same
Same
thing,
thing.
thinking
Same
what I'm
thing.
doing. So now we're all in the arcade. We're all trying to find a spot this arcade, waiting for the sound or the siren or whatever to let us know that okay, we can go back on the deck. And sure enough, boom, we're all ran back up and we had a great spot by the stage. So
I love it.
Wow. Nice. Nice.
that was kind of funny.
I love it. Hey, speaking of cruises,
Yeah.
um, if there's another one, would you go?
Um, I'm not sure. I need to understand what, like, if it's just the sail away show or are they doing a sail away show and an indoor show? Or I'm not sure. Obviously,
Okay.
I would love to go, but I would want to like if Ace went back on it or something, or Bruce came back on it. Like if it would need to be something
Special.
a little bit special. Yeah. Like the one thing I missed the fact that Ace. I don't know if you got to see the Ace show
I wish.
when
Yeah.
Ace was on. I missed that. Like I would
Oh,
love
on the
to
cruise? No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, didn't he? I think it was 11. Wasn't it 11? I think he might have went on 11.
Yeah.
But that would have been amazing to see Ace
Yeah.
and on the boat as well. But yeah, if they do something like that, that would be cool. Or Vinnie.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love. Like I'm a huge Vinnie guy too. Like
Yeah.
I love that whole era, that the whole Lick It Up era. Like I would love to see Vinnie come back and do something. If he went on the cruise, that would be enough to push me over alone. Just
Oh,
they said
yeah. Oh,
Vinnie's
yeah.
the one.
What do
Yeah.
you think about these super special events that Neil Davis is putting together? Creatures Fest, and he got Vinny, he got Ace, he got Bruce Kulick, and Anton Fig, you name it. So that's really a dream come true for any KISS
Oh
fan,
man,
eh?
yeah, I missed that. Yeah, I bet I saw the videos.
Yeah.
I love that video where the three of them are on the stage
Oh
together
yeah.
with Vinny and Bruce, and oh, that was amazing. But no, I
Yeah.
would love to have gone to one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey Kev,
yeah,
there's so many different angles that we can discuss, but it always comes to this question. Um, Being such a huge KISS fan, what does KISS mean to you?
Yeah, it's a big question, right? Like for me, like they mean everything to me, right? Like again, coming from, it's my whole youth, right? Like, again, 11 years old. And, I had a bit of a kind of a challenging kind of family childhood, if you will.
Hmm. Hmm.
But KISS was there, right? So, you're locked in
Kiss
your
was
room.
there.
KISS is there, right?
Hmm.
They always had that, mystery to them, that superhero thing to them. I grew up with them. I always joke that I was born when KISS was born, right?
Mm.
Kiss is 74. I'm 74. Like we're meant to be we're meant
There
to
you
be
go.
together, right?
There you go.
No, man, Kiss is still with me after all these years, right? It's like 50, almost 50 years. It's crazy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Um,
you're such a big fan of music in general.
yep.
I follow you, and I know that you go to shows, and
Oh, yep.
you're in the rock scene, quite often. But can it be compared with Kiss? Why Kiss and their fans are so special? What do you think is the main difference?
Um, I maybe and this is just coming to my mind now. Like they weren't for everybody. They had a lot of detractors, right? Everyone thought they were a gimmick. Everyone thought they were just yeah, that it wasn't about the music. It was about the makeup. It was about the show. But those that really got into it knew, how special they were, how great they were, how amazing of a show they would put on, how committed they were to the fans, and you became a family, right? Like again, that's why when you go on these KISS cruises, like you're around everybody that's like you, right? And there's nothing like it. Like I followed so many different bands, but there's nothing like the KISS Army, right? And the KISS fans, like we're so unique in that aspect.
So
Where
unique.
these kind of podcasts will be going on in 20 years,
I hope
right?
Hmm.
so.
I just think there's nothing like it, and I think again, it's everybody has their own story of how they got into them and what
Yeah.
gravitated them to KISS. Um, and yeah, they're just so special, right? And
Hmm.
again, I liken them I love the eras. Like some people don't. Like there's the hardcore fans that it's 74 to 77 and nothing else. There's
Mhm.
some of those fans out there, not me. I love how they changed through the years,
Yeah.
trying to keep up at times. Was everything a home run? Maybe not, but they tried to stay relevant,
Hmm.
and continue to progress, continue to change. I absolutely love that about the band. And the other thing I love about the band is, you know, going back to the early days is, I always liken them a little bit to the Beatles.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of commonalities to the Beatles, right? They all could sing in the band, right? They all could write in the band and contribute to the band. Even if you think about the George Harrison and kind of how he was a little bit, not nowhere near the forefront in the early days of the band until they allowed him to find his voice. Well, that was Ace. Same
That's
thing,
right.
Yeah.
That's
right?
right.
Ace was behind the scenes,
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
Dynasty, is coming around, right? And you've got Peter Chris, and can sing as well. Like I love that all of them can sing. The one thing that actually does disappoint me a little bit is how they stepped away from that,
Mhm.
right? Like you think about the first album, how many songs do they all sing on the same song?
Yeah.
Three or
Yeah.
four at
Right.
least,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Right.
They went away from that. Like that was
True.
something I wish they would have kept that, because that shared lyrics and shared singing, it was so unique, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Good point.
Yeah.
I love when you were talking about Kiss fans, you mentioned the word family. And yeah, you're right. As Kiss fans, we are a family. And that family got together in a sense for the last time at Madison Square Garden in New York. And
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking family from around the world coming together for one final reunion together to see the greatest show on earth at Madison Square Garden. What are your thoughts about the final two shows?
I love the shows. Like I think obviously they're 50 years on, right? So even Paul says, hey, if you want me to sound like 1977, go listen to me in 1977, right? Like
Yes.
they're gonna that's a great comment that sticks with me, that Paul said in the past. They're gonna sound a bit different, but we're fortunate the fact, because they're wearing makeup and costumes, it's still, you still feel like you're 11 years old again, right? You still
Mhm.
they could still have that longevity that you feel like, and they keep you youthful, in a way. And I think the set list was perfect as well, in terms of it ranged from all, like a lot of the hits, like they were trying to play to a more populous audience through that tour. So they have pretty much all hits, but ranging from the makeup era into the non-makeup era. I love the tour. Unfortunately, it got canceled in KISS. He got sick in Toronto.
Yeah.
He played Ottawa, and
No,
No, he didn't. No, he
didn't.
didn't.
he missed. No, so he missed Ottawa. He was supposed to. He played Montreal, I think.
Yeah.
And
Quebec.
Exactly. And then he got sick, and I'm like, so he canceled the Toronto show. So I only got to see, the end of the road tour the first time there when they came through. So it was a bit disappointing that I didn't get to see
Did you get the pay-per-view for the Madison shows?
Yes, absolutely. Not both, just one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And well, you said that you love the shows, and sorry, past just to expand on this one a little bit more. You said that you like, the set list, which is basically what they had been playing for the tour.
Mm-hmm.
Were you expecting something special for those shows?
You would have liked to have seen something, but I wasn't expecting it. I just think there's just still so much going on with the band. I would have liked to see Bruce. I know Ace wasn't coming, but maybe seeing Bruce. Like, and even says I wasn't invited. He was a bit disappointed. So that was a bit disappointing. But again, how greedy can we get? Like, I mean, the fact that they're still playing, they're still touring. At that many years later, I don't want to get too greedy.
Good point.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts about the upcoming avatars?
I'm not sold on the avatars. What I personally, and I don't think this is a very common opinion, what I would like to see them do is I would like to see them make new music with AI. Mm-hmm. I think the band can still play. The challenge is really just the music, the voices, right? Like, the voices aren't the same anymore. I mean, they're 70 years old, right? But the technology's there. I don't know if you've heard the recent Randy Travis music.
No.
So Randy Travis unfortunately had a stroke several years ago, so he can't sing anymore. He still has challenges speaking, but he just put out new music. And again, he's supporting the project, he's driving the project, he's involved, and they're utilizing the technology we have, and the music sounds unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. Like, why I would love to see that with KISS personally. Again, I think a lot of people would go against it, but I'd rather them do it now while they're still can contribute to the project, sign off on the project, versus somebody doing it down the road after the fact, and it's either unofficial or unblessed. I want music. Like, personally, the avatars, I don't know, I don't get it. I'm not really sure what they're trying to do with that. For me, it's all about the music. I would love new music, like even like what's that band, is it Classic 78?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it sounds great. Like, imagine they did something similar, with the throwback sound, brand new music, brand new lyrics. They can still play all the instruments, just really replace the voice.
This is a great point, man. We never thought of that. I can't thank you enough, because this is one of the beauties of doing this show. We have something like what you just said, which is something that I don't know about you, Pas, but I never thought about that. We concentrate oftentimes on the avatars and the image and all of that, but we forget about the music. Of course, Paul has been saying for the longest time that for him it doesn't make any sense to make new music and blah blah blah. But at the same time, he was doing some Soul Station stuff. But again, if they want to keep the flame alive, why not creating new music with the help of AI, as you said before, because they've
always been a progressive band. Like, why not try something, right? Like, even the avatars is they're trying to deal with technology and leverage technology, but so do it with the music. I would love that. Put out even if it's a single, or maybe it's not a full
just
album.
a couple of songs.
Yeah, or remastering. I've been listening to the Frankenstein,
The Harder Than Hell. Yeah.
That's on you. That's flying around YouTube, where they're remaking some of the older music, with some remastered sound. Like, I would love that too, right? Like, go back and maybe like Unmasked. Wouldn't Unmasked be something cool to hear remastered?
Oh yeah.
Like, everyone always says it's it's a poppy sound, poppy album. Well, what would the masters do? Maybe there's some master tapes there that can remaster it and give it another like sound. Like, I want them to play with the music.
Yeah. But Kevin, you know, I'm with you. I'm not crazy about the idea. I'm not sold about the idea of the avatars, but I think something big is coming with the avatars.
Yeah.
And I think the visual show is going to be huge, but they have to match the music with that visual. So going off on what you're saying, I don't think they're going to be using the typical Kiss songs for the Avatar show. I think they're going to AI jack those songs up for the avatars. I'm not
Maybe.
sure they're gonna, I don't think they're gonna do new music. I don't see that happening. But I think they're gonna jack up their songs to make it fit the larger than life image that the avatars are going to portray. That's what I'm
Yeah.
predicting.
And it seems to be moving slow, right?
2027.
Yeah. Seems to be moving real slow. So
Yeah. I hope I'm around in 2027. It's a long time from now.
you and me both.
So one last question here.
Sure,
You were talking about it being about the music. So the avatars are coming. You're not sold on that. But what about music releases? Do you want to see box sets? If so, which ones? Off the soundboard with nicer covers, as you said.
Yes.
What soundboards would you like to see?
Probably something from Animalized or Lick It Up era.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I'm a big non-makeup guy. Again, that's what I grew up with, right? I grew up in that era. So I would probably want to have something from Animalized or Lick It Up for sure. Yeah.
You know, Kev, one final question before we
Sure.
let you go. And you know, the band has reached the end of the road, but somehow we are all still connected with the Kiss Army. Okay, we're here talking, you know, we met in the cruise and we're here having a blast on this episode. So I think we all agree that there's nothing really to get so excited about with the band. What he's doing, he's almost doing nothing, right? So it's been a year now since the last shows, and the fans have been trying to keep the flame alive, doing all kinds of projects. In your case, what are you doing to keep the Kiss excitement alive?
Well, I don't know. If we think about the Facebook fan groups, I don't even know how many I'm part of. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't, I get so many posts and so many comments, and I'm engaging with people and chatting with people. I've got to be a part of at least 10 of them. I don't know. So, that's kind of where I stay connected is through.
Okay.
That's what I was talking about, like the Frankenstein thing. Like that's new for
Yeah.
me. That's just recently. I think over the last couple of weeks, I've been hearing about these
Yeah.
the remakes of of some of the older music, right, from the Hotter Than Hell album. So I'm just trying to stay connected through social media. Try to learn, see what's going on, with social media, and you try to meet new fans, right? And just stay plugged in. And I'm still big in the vinyl community. Like I said, I'm always getting plugged in on, okay, what are the new vinyl sets that are coming out, and keeping my eye on, the different vinyl sets. I'm plugged in with this one site that you guys, I won't advertise them here, but you guys, you may know of them. I'm always paying attention to that, and just keeping my ear to the ground. Staying in touch as much as I can.
Nice. Claudio was absolutely right when he said that, right now, not much is happening. I think a lot's going to happen in 2027, but right now we're scrambling for Kiss wherever we can get it,
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I love having you on the show for that very reason. You're fans like you, talking to fans like you, your passion that comes across the screen here is contagious, and it reignites the Kiss flame in me. It's like that excitement is back. It's listening to your stories and your excitement in your voice when you're talking about your collecting and the shows you've seen. It's fantastic to hear. So thank you so much.
I could talk Kiss. Actually, I thought of another thing. You know what else I would like to see? If it's not going to be the AI, I would like to see them do a reality show competition, kind of like Rockstar. Like INXS did. Remember how INXS they were trying to find the singer, and they did a full show where they brought all the different people. I would like to see them put together an officially blessed Kiss tribute band. Right? Even then, they could put out an album. Maybe that's again, a project that's run by the band, blessed by the band. They could even write the music and help coordinate. Like that would be another cool thing. Again, back to music, right? Let's get some music, right?
They were talking about
with
that.
human beings, human beings.
Yeah, they were talking about doing a
it's
Kiss
true.
2.0.
The Kiss 2.0.
The
That's
Kiss
right.
2.0.
Yeah, like that would be. I'd be into that. Like I would be glued to that for sure.
I love it. It's interesting. I'm not gonna repeat what Paz said, but it was so obvious that we were all three of us, so excited to have this show going, and we're smiling all the time, and you go back in time, and somehow I think that one of the beauties that KISS has, it can happen the same maybe to Beatle fans or Queen fans. It makes you feel younger, okay? It makes you go back in time, this innocence, this fantasy, with the world, so many things going on now that is really, dark and stuff. But, we tend to look back just to have a smile, have a good time here talking to friends. So again, I'm going to second what Paz was saying. Thank you so much, Kev, for being for making yourself available and to be on the show. This has been great. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. I had a great time. Anytime I could talk KISS, you can count me in.
Fantastic. And we know that you're a listener of the show, so thank you so much for your support.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for continuing to put them on.
Thank you. Thank you. To the KISS Army, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please send them to talktome@kissarmynationpodcast.com. Till the next time, remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can watch us on YouTube or listen to us on Podomatic, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. This is about you, so please like and subscribe to support the amazing guests we have on the show. See you soon, KISS Army.